This is Derek from Suffocation, and you're listening to Heavymetal.dk. Mostly just playing shows. You know, it doesn't take 4 years to make a record. You know, basically, if all we did was cut records and work on the next one, and then when we finish that, work on the next one, you know, it would not take that many years. But, you know, we've been all over the world, you know, and a couple European tours, couple of U.S. tours, got down to South America, got over to Asia, Australia, New Zealand, you know. So it's basically like, you know, if you're out on the road for 2 months, you come home, you know, you're not just going to pick up your instrument and start writing songs. You know, you want to relax, and, you know, so it's hard to get into the swing of things. And I feel like it basically was just a timing thing. You know, we were really busy doing a lot of shows, and then it kind of got to the point where it's like, well, okay, what material do we have? Okay, let's do this tour. When we come back from this tour, let's start thinking about getting into the studio. So, you know, basically with a couple new guys in the band and a lot of touring, you know, it kind of pushed us back a little bit. No, I mean, I think it's, you know, we're always writing about, you know, how we're feeling. And, you know, when we're writing aggressive music, it's because we live in an aggressive world. And, you know, it's not really difficult for us to write music. I think it's more difficult to coordinate, you know, 5 different people. And especially when people live all over the place, you know, so it's trickier because of the individual people and getting them all in the same room. It's not as tricky as just like, oh, I can't write. You know, it's like when we pick up an instrument and we want to put something together, we do it. You know, it's not impossible. And, you know, we were writing material for this album before the other album even came out. Like, we finished Pinnacle and we were like, wow, we're bored. Let's write songs. And like, so we had material written before Pinnacle even came out, you know. And then the same thing with this, like, we completed Of the Dark Light and it's not even out yet. And I've already been writing new stuff for another album already. And, you know, Of the Dark Light's not even out yet. So it's like that sometimes. You know, sometimes we get ahead of ourselves, and sometimes nothing takes place and we just play a lot of shows. So it's tricky. You know, it's always different. I mean, we're lucky in the sense of the newer audiences because we have some younger guys. So it helps, you know, when everybody's over 40 years old, you know, you're an old band. And with us, you know, we got a couple guys in their mid-20s, and then we're, you know, 40, 45, you know, something like that. We got a couple older guys and a couple younger guys, and then I'm kind of right in the middle. So it's not bad. And, you know, we still feel relevant because we're writing aggressive music, and, you know, it's like, okay, yeah, there's a lot of other aggressive bands out there, but, you know, we don't feel that we're getting irrelevant because we're getting older. You know, we feel that we're getting a little more refined. And the fact that we do have a couple of young guys in the band, it does make it feel fresh and new. You know, like I said, if everybody was in their 40s, you know, it would be like, okay, everybody's like kind of a little more tired or whatever, but that's not the case. You know, the young guys keep you young, and you know, the old guys make sure that the wisdom is passed down to the new guys. So everything seems to be going perfect. Yeah, it was easy. You know, we got lucky. Charlie had been a friend of the band, and Charlie had played in, you know, the guy that Charlie replaced comes from 2 bands, Internal Bleeding and Pyrexia. And Charlie, when Guy was stepping down, so Guy's 3 things were Pyrexia, Internal Bleeding, and Suffocation. Well, the funny thing is, when Guy was stepping down, you know, he was saying, hey guys, I can't do this anymore. Charlie's background was Pyrexia and Internal Bleeding. So we said, wow, as soon as you jump in and start playing Suffocation, you're Guy 2.0. You literally have done the exact same work that he has done. So, I mean, granted, Charlie was, you know, jumping in as a younger musician playing for those bands when Guy was writing songs for those bands. So the proof was, it was a little different, but the proof was Charlie can play everything that Guy writes, because Guy writes for Suffocation, Guy writes for Internal Bleeding, Guy writes for Pyrexia, and Charlie plays in Pyrexia, Internal Bleeding, and now Suffocation. So we knew that Charlie was a perfect fit when Guy stepped down. And Eric worked out great because of the timing. he jumped in to do the Summer Slaughter tour with Cannibal Corpse, Nile, and Suffocation, and a bunch of other bands. But those were the main bands that we wanted to play with. So when Eric jumped in, he was really aggressive, really fun guy to be around, really aggressive drummer, not an aggressive human, but aggressive drummer and a great guy and really fun to be around. So when he jumped in and we did the Summer Slaughter tour, we said, you know what? We think we have a perfect lineup right now. Let's bang out the album. So everything's going perfect as of right now. Everybody's fun. Everybody likes being around each other, and everyone is really good at what they do. So we've got a bright little future right here. I don't think so. I really don't. Like if you're getting in the studio and something isn't going down right, you might have a weird feeling about it. But I mean, for us, we enter the studio knowing that we have good material. It's not gonna get away from us. If something starts going weird in the production, we're gonna stop what we're doing. You can't just push through it and put out a record that sounds terrible. Although the band did do that in 1993, there was a really bad production on a record, but. For nowadays, it's nothing scary about it. There's, we're confident in what we do, and it's just a matter of, getting the material we like, getting the musicians that we like, because the band has gone through some lineup changes over the years. So as long as the guys that we have, we think are as good or better than the other guys, and as long as the material we have, we're confident, we go in there not scared at all. We just no expectation. We're just going to do a good job, and that's that. Yeah, it was very paradoxical. I'm writing most of the lyrical content. Terrence is writing most of the music. And, I'm sitting at Terrence's place in his home studio, and we're talking, fuck, what are we going to call the album? We don't know. And, so I'm starting to read him all of my lyrical passages. We hadn't gotten to the studio yet or anything. And he's way on the other side of his place, and he just screams out of the dark light. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And the next thing you know, he's like, how about that for a title, Of the Dark Light? Because I had just got done reading him, 3 or 4 of my songs worth of lyrics. And that was what came to mind. And, I said, wow, that's kind of perfect. It's got an artistic feel. It's got a very paradigm type of feel, with, dark and light. And I mean, it even goes deeper, with the warmth within the dark. One of the song titles, also, people associate, warmth with light. And, we're basically going with all these paradigm style concepts, and it's just natural, and it kind of has a good artistic feel to it. The ... of the dark light, because it could have been anything in front of the dark light. So we're kind of trying to string things out for, put a lot of information on the table, but also let the listener kind of take on how they feel about it too. So a lot of fun. Yeah, it always goes back to that Slayer lyric, have you ever wondered why it seems that evil you're attracted to? I don't know, there's just something about the darkness, and, it's more, I don't know, you can go through life smiling, and we all want to smile, don't get me wrong. Sunshine and happiness and no problems, and everything is great and everybody's smiling, but we all know life isn't like that. And life doesn't need to be really depressed or dark. But there's something enticing about, feeling good in the dark places. That's a strange concept too, because, most of the time when you get into this dark place, you don't feel good. And it's like being comfortable in the I don't know, the more treacherous aspects of life. When you feel comfortable in that, it kind of goes with our aggressive music. Most people, when they're aggressive, they don't feel comfortable. They feel more comfortable when they're calm. And for us, when we play this aggressive music, we are comfortable in an aggressive element. And that's kind of a little paradoxical in itself, So yeah, we're metal and death metal, and we're a special situation. Most people get uncomfortable when they get into our levels of playing music, and we're comfortable up there playing the difficult stuff. So it's fun, Yeah, this is also really a funny thing, because the record label said, hey, these are the songs that we want to release as a single. And we were like, oh no, that's like, those songs are like, I don't know, they're all right. Those aren't the best songs. Those aren't the most aggressive songs, but the label thought these songs are very commercially acceptable. We can get new fans, we can keep our old fans, and then you get, people on the message boards saying, "Oh wow, this song is really simple, and this song is not as aggressive as, we know Suffocation to be." And it's like, wow, well, take it up with the label, because the label is who chose the song. And so basically they came at us with like, a couple songs, and we're like, no way, those songs aren't our brutalist songs. We're a brutal death metal band. We want our brutalist songs to be the singles. And they're like, oh, no way. You're not going to sell any records if you only push your brutal stuff. So now you have the politics, which nobody should know about. Everybody should be like, I like this band. But they don't realize why they like a band or why they don't like a band. Sometimes doesn't even have anything to do with the band. And the record label chooses to put out this single. And the next thing you know, whether or not the single is even the band's favorite song, could be the band's least favorite song. The band kind of just has to take it. Okay, you guys are going to put this song out? Okay. And then the next thing you know, people are saying, hey, this isn't Suffocation. But they're only looking at one corner of a painting and saying, I don't like this, when they need to like be able to listen to the entire record and then form an opinion. So you know what I mean? It's kind of tricky to judge a book by its cover, or to judge an album by one song that the band didn't even choose, so it's kind of a tricky situation. But that is not what the album is about. A lot of other bands put out one song and every song on the album sounds the same. Well, our production sounds the same, but our songs are entirely different. So that is not what you can expect from the new album. Yeah. That album never got a fair chance. That album was a good album that didn't sound very good. And a lot of people love that record. And they, oh my God, that's my favorite record. And we always cringe a little bit and go, well, that album was cool, but it didn't have the right production. The clarity wasn't there. And I don't know if it was something in the performances or 100% involved with the engineer. But regardless, we have been re-recording one song off of that album for 6 different albums now. So we are 2 albums away from recreating that entire album. And I wanted to do something like a Resurrecting the Spawn, where it would be almost like a best of, they have those like best of whoever album, and it's songs off of all their different albums. So basically it would be kind of like a best of album, but it would be, when you open the CD booklet, it would be a picture of Pinnacle of Bedlam's album cover with the lyrics of Beginning of Sorrow, which is the first song off Breeding the Spawn. It would say, this song is taken from this album. And then you turn to the next page in the CD booklet, and it would have Pierce from Within's cover. And it would say, Pierce from Within featured Breeding the Spawn, the song. And then you turn to the next page, and it would show Blood Oath, and it would have the Marital Decimation lyrics. And this song, Marital Decimation, was taken from Blood Oath. And in every CD, every page, the Japanese release of Souls to Deny had Prelude to Repulsion. You'd flip to the next page and, it would say Epitaph of the Credulous, taken from Of the Dark Light. So you'd basically be promoting all of your other albums while people were able to actually listen to Breeding the Spawn with the proper production. Because as cool of a record as that is, a lot of people can't stomach it. They put it in and they take it out. They go, whoa, this sounds horrible. And the songs are good. So, with each album, we keep doing another song, and finally, we're going to get there to where it will be like, wow, we can actually release, this album with good production. So that was kind of the goal.